Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we have another shop talk video, and today's topic is going to be, as a shop, why should you pick and choose your jobs and not just take anything and everything that rolls into the shop? And that's going to be today's topic, guys. Now before we go ahead and get into it, if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button down below and definitely smash that like button because it helps the channel out. And with that said, let's go ahead and get into today's topic. So as a shop, guys, I do have a tendency to pick and choose certain jobs that I work on here at the shop, simply because I don't ever want to tie down my shop and be locked in and pretty much screw myself over. And what I mean by this, me in particular, my shop, if you guys have seen my shop tour, is a very small workspace. I have two stalls with two lifts, and there's very limited room for anything else. It's even been difficult acquiring equipment. Lately, I needed a sandblaster cabinet, and I just have nowhere to put it, unfortunately, because all the room is taken up. So for my particular shop, I have to be a little bit picky and choosy with my work. And the whole point of me making this video is because I recently made a video, it may or may not be out yet, that is talking about shops and about them not being complete service stops anymore, where they do anything and everything to all makes and models, just due to equipment and things that you need. It's not as easy to work on the newer cars now. You're going to need a lot of tools and specialty items for them. And since I made that video, I also decided to make this video to explain why I pick and choose and why most shops may pick and choose the certain jobs that they do. And the first thing that I want to get out of the way is that it's not because we are lazy and we don't want to do a certain thing. It's just there's certain confines and certain things that we can do with what equipment we have on hand. Because a lot of people don't quite understand that to run a shop you need equipment, and that equipment is always constantly changing and evolving. You could buy a scanner today and have it be obsolete a year from now, and you have to wrench over a bunch of money for a new one. And it's not always the best case scenario. So to be profitable and be able to make money and survive in this field as a shop owner, you can't just buy anything and everything that's new. You got to try to buy something and invest in something for long term that'll eventually you'll be able to use for years on the road, not buy it now, use it for a couple months and have to get rid of it. At least that's how I look at things. So when it comes down to me, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other shops, they'll have kind of the same reasonings as I'm about to talk about in this video. So for me, the biggest thing is, like I said, the spacing in the shop is just not there. I don't have the space for a lot of equipment. So therefore, I'm limited on what I can do. Now in the other video that I talked about, we talked about me not doing engine swaps. I don't like rebuilding transmissions or anything like that because, again, space. Not that I don't like them, although they are kind of annoying. It takes a really skillful person that does transmissions all day long to repair transes. So I don't have those skills because I've never worked in just a trans setting. So I'm a little rusty when it comes to that stuff as far as rebuilding them. But taking them in and off is not a big deal. That's actually really easy. So engines, transmissions, anything that requires me basically lifting the engine and trans assembly, as far as like a subframe deal where you got to drop the whole front end to get the drivetrain out, things like that, I don't typically do because of spacing, and sometimes it requires certain lifting equipment that I don't have. Now a regular engine hoist is not that expensive, but in order for you to do a lot of these subframe drops with the engine and trans, you're gonna need a hydraulic table, which can cost a couple grand, if not more, and it also takes up a lot of space. So therefore I can't have it because, one, I don't have the space to be able to pull an engine assembly and all that stuff out. My shop is very small. I don't have the space to leave a car in the air without the engine for a couple days while I work on it, and vice versa. Like, it's just a whole bunch of stuff. So I do tend to be really picky and choosy with my jobs. I also go a little bit extreme with this because, since I am a small shop and I do everything around here, guys, I am the mechanic, I am the advisor, you name it, I do it all. I want to basically base my work off of things that I know I can do, give the customer a good job on them, and also not stress myself out. Because at the end of the day, if I'm getting myself sick because I'm stressing out because I'm taking nothing but big jobs that are very stressful and beating me up and my body up, and I get sick, guess what? I lost money because my shop will have to be closed if I'm calling out sick. There's no one to cover me. So I try to take the easy approach on this. I try to make as much money and bring in as much work as I reasonably can, if the amount of work and stuff is out there for me to do, because it goes based on supply and demand. I mean, sometimes there's months where I'm really busy, and sometimes it could be weeks or months where you slow down. This field is always changing, it always varies. I know right around summertime, when people take vacations or holidays, there's not a lot of repairing going on because most people are saving up money for the holidays or for that big vacation for the year and stuff like that. So there's a lot of seasonal changes. But for me, I try to get in as much work that can make me as much money as I reasonably can, working with just me here and being able to make good use of my space and equipment that I do have without having to invest a whole bunch of money in a whole bunch of other things. And that's just how I see it. It works for me in this sense because obviously overhead is a big thing. You got to make sure your bills are paid and that you're making money and you're profitable. Because as much as I have to pay stuff at the shop off, I also have to make a living. So I try to take on jobs that are going to be done within a day or two that I can get parts for that won't require me sitting and waiting. To give you guys an example of this is, I mean, I'll work on anything and everything, and I have even worked on cars that are older that our parts are hard to find on. But what I do in those scenarios is I make sure I gather all the parts and have everything here that I need before I work on the car. Because last thing I want to do is bring in a car, let's say there's no parts availability for 2 weeks, and I can't get the car out of the shop because it's torn into pieces, and then I'm down to one stall trying to make money and working with just one lift. It makes money, but sometimes it's very difficult. If I'm doing 8 cars a day, it brings you down to, let's say, 3 or 4 cars a day because it limits you on what you can do. And then you're working with a jack or jack stands on the floor, and not that I don't like doing that. I mean, I'm capable of working on the floor, but that beats up your body even more. And me being here alone, doing everything myself, again, just for me, if I have to call out on a sick day or something and I'm not here, it can potentially hurt me more than others because I lose whatever customers I was going to work on their cars that day, any potential new customers that might just be seeing me and stopping by, and a whole bunch of effects. I've noticed a lot of other shops, as I do have a couple other shops in the area that I know the owners with, and they simply just are picky and choosy now because some jobs don't make that much money and it doesn't make sense to them. Sometimes the mechanics that they're getting, because the older generation is dying out and the new generation is coming in, they're not as skillful as the older generation, so that kind of limits some shops and vice versa. There's a lot of factors. But for most places like mine, especially if it's a small mom and pop operation like I am, typically you're going to want to be picky and choosy because you don't want to get in over your head and be in a situation that it's going to cost you a lot of time and a lot of money and just not profitable. So for me, main reasons are I want to be able to do a good job on a customer car without being rushed or stressed out. I want to make sure that I'm not having cars staying here for days on end on the lift, blocking my bay so that way I can't take in as much work. So I try to base my shop off of doing anything and everything that I can do within a reasonable amount of time when parts are available. And if I run into a situation where there's an older car and parts aren't available, that happens to me all the time. I simply tell the customers I have no issues working on it, but it's gonna take 2 weeks to get that radiator or whatever the case might be. Or if you want to leave the car here or you want to prepay for the parts, I'll order them, they'll be here, and when they get in, I'll call you, you can bring it in. And 99% of the time people are like, here's the keys, order what you need, the car's here, and just get it fixed and I'll pick it up whenever it's ready. That's what generally how it works out with me. My customer base is really great, and I'm very happy and thankful for that because my customers see that I'm a hard worker and I bust my chops here, and I try to always deliver on time, guys. I can't stress this enough. A lot of you may not even think this is a big deal, but if I tell someone your car will be ready on Wednesday, I not only will make sure it's done on Wednesday, it may even be done on a Tuesday, the day before. I try to get my targeted pickup times exactly where they are, and I want to make sure that it's always on time because if you delay a customer, sometimes that can cause them time and money. So I try to be very accurate and very precise on this stuff. So that's why I have to be picky and choosy, guys. There's a lot of factors. A lot of people jump to their conclusion like, oh, you just suck, you don't know how to do this stuff, and that's not the case. I mean, granted, I don't know how to do everything. I'm never going to make that claim. I'm always learning. Plus, there's always so much new stuff in this field that you always have to relearn something or learn something new. But that's not the case. Simply what it boils down to is making sure that I keep whoever is here that is my customer happy, making sure that my shop is profitable, and making sure that I'm getting everything correctly. You got to have happy customers. I got to keep myself happy and healthy, and I also have to keep the shop up and running and making sure overhead and everything like that is covered. Those are three main things that you got to keep doing, and those things can't happen if I am irresponsible and take on an engine job that will take let's say a week of the car sitting in the shop because you need a part halfway through that you didn't realize and it's on back order. That costs you money, it doesn't make you money. So simply that's why I pick and choose certain jobs. That's why most places will also pick and choose certain jobs. I just want to throw this topic out there and explain my case on this, guys, because I'm sure you guys have even noticed through the videos there's certain things that you won't see on my channel. You will never, if hardly ever, see me swapping out an engine. One, because it's a nightmare to film and try to edit, and secondly, it takes up too much time. Now that can happen, because I do plan on eventually bringing on a project. And to be honest with you guys, this video may be out after or before that, but I am going to start a little project series on my channel where I'm working on a car that I'm going to be rebuilding and building up. So stay tuned for that. But for this scenario, guys, this is what I mainly wanted to talk about. It's just simply, you're not going to see a lot of stuff on my channel. I know you guys may be wondering, like, hey, why isn't Mike doing an engine job or a transmission job or this or that? And simply it just boils down to, guys, that I have to be smart with my time. I only have 9 to 10 hours a day that I'm working here in the shop. I do have a family and I want to go home and see them, so I don't want to spend, all my time here, come in at 7 to 6 a.m. in the morning and get out of here at 9, 10 o'clock at night. I like to have a quality of life as well and spend time with my family, my kids and everything. So that's why I pick and choose jobs. I make sure that I'm doing it accordingly. And then the big takeaway, guys, is making sure that you're not turning away work for no reason. That's something I don't do. If it's something that I can do and customer is willing to give me the time and be able to do something, I get it done. If I had a customer that, let's say, came in here and they needed a trans swapped out, even though that's not something I typically do, if it's just as simple as take this transmission off, put this one in, and I know I can do that within, let's say, a day, I'll take on the job and I'll do it. Because there's no point to not, make money on it and just send every transmission down the road to the next shop. You got to be smart about it. I don't just say no because I don't want to do it. No, I have to make sure that it'll fit within the scheduling and the time frame that I choose to be here. Because being a shop owner, I've spent a lot of late nights here working, trying to get stuff done the next day. Because like I said, I always try to make sure my targeted times are on time. I never want to call a customer and say, hey, your car was supposed to be done yesterday, but now I need another week with it. I try not to do that, guys. That's not a good way to build your business, and it doesn't make customers happy. So I've already done that and I've learned, and the best way for me to keep my quality of life and keep the shop up and running and keep everyone happy is to basically make a schedule and pick and choose the work. Make sure I'm not doing stuff that is going to overhang in the shop and cost me money. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about in this video, guys. So please comment, like, and subscribe because it definitely helps the channel grow. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.